Welcome, practitioners, to the definitive gateway of the Greyhawk APAC Forensics Practitioner Certification, the GAP FPC. Take a close look at the parameters defining your operational theater here on this opening slide. You are entering the Valhalla Virtual Learning Environment, VLE, our proprietary operational crucible. This is not a standard passive classroom. It is an immersive, high-pressure digital range designed to test and harden your capabilities against real-world friction. You will have 6 months of post-graduation access to master this environment, navigating through 21 rigorous, hands-on operational scenarios that mirror the exact complexities, legal hurdles, and technical anomalies you will face across the Asia-Pacific region. Prepare yourselves. We are here to bridge the gap between academic theory and the harsh realities of APAC casework. Team. Let's talk directly about why we built the GAP FPC certification and why traditional training falls short in our theater of operations. Look closely at the comparison on this slide: generic Western training versus the Valhalla APAC labs. For years, digital forensics education has been anchored to US-centric frameworks. But ask yourself, how well does a standard search warrant or a textbook federal investigation prepare you when you're standing in a courtroom in Singapore or New Delhi? Let's break down the friction points we designed this crucible to overcome. Legal frameworks. While generic training relies on US-centric scenarios, our labs immerse you directly into localized statutory realities, such as navigating the Singapore Evidence Act and complying with India IT Act Section 65B. Target hardware. Western courses love pristine corporate enterprise desktops. In the real APAC operating environment, you are dealing with fragmented regional mobile ecosystems. Think Xiaomi and Oppo variants, alongside localized IoT devices. Cloud environments. We moved past basic AWS and Azure assumptions straight into Alibaba cloud-native structures, which dominate regional enterprise architecture. Reporting standards. We leave behind messy, unstructured technical logs. Instead, you will master strict Australian plain language standards and craft ironclad ASEAN statutory compliance affidavits. The core takeaway is simple: this curriculum wasn't imported or generalized. It is designed exclusively by APAC practitioners, for APAC practitioners, engineered specifically to give you the upper hand against regional localization hurdles and cross-border protocols. Let's move to the next phase. Let's walk through the architectural blueprint of how we conduct complex casework in this theater. This slide outlines the anatomy of a cross-border investigation, broken down across our 4 core operational phases within the Valhalla VLE. Phase 01, Node 1, Legal Mandate and Ethics, Labs 1 to 5. Before you ever touch a command line, you must secure your jurisdiction, ensure strict statutory compliance, and master mandatory reporting protocols. In cross-border work, a technical victory means nothing if the legal foundation is flawed. Phase 02, Node 2, Scene and Volatile Seizure, Labs 6 to 11. Here, we move into live execution, performing endpoint memory captures, acquiring bit-for-bit forensic images, and enforcing rigorous write-blocking under foundational ACPO principles. Phase 03, Node 3, Deep Technical Extraction, Labs 12 to 17. This is where the technical friction peaks. You will tackle bypassing locked OEM bootloaders, carving deleted databases from flash storage, and isolating active enterprise network threats before they can trigger remote wipe commands. Phase 04, Node 4, Case Management and Defense, Labs 18 to 21. Finally, we teach you how to survive the aftermath. You will learn to translate raw hexadecimal logs and technical artifacts into defensible, court-ready affidavits engineered to withstand aggressive judicial cross-examination. Master these 4 nodes, and you master the entire life cycle of an APAC cross-border investigation. Let's shift our focus to executing lawful seizures across divergent jurisdictions. In cross-border digital forensics, an extraction method that is perfectly legal in one country can instantly contaminate a case in another. Look at the 3 operational dossiers on this slide. Dossier 1 focuses on Singapore. Under Section 10 of the Evidence Act, your objective here is to execute compelled decryption orders during active criminal investigations while rigorously respecting statutory procedural safeguards. One misstep in the decryption chain, and the evidence is locked out of court. Dossier 2 shifts to India. Here, revolving around Section 65B of the IT Act, your mandate is to draft, verify, and digitally sign contemporaneous certificates at the exact moment of seizure. Without this certificate, electronic records are inadmissible under Indian law. Dossier 3 targets Australia. The challenge here is entirely translational. You must take dense, complex hexadecimal code and advanced file carving logs and condense them into a strict, page 1 plain language summary tailored precisely to Australian judicial standards. Remember, operators, technical execution without jurisdictional compliance is just expensive data gathering. Master all 3 dossiers. Let's talk about one of the most complex operational bottlenecks in our region, cross-border legal cooperation. Take a look at this slide, navigating the friction of the ASEAN MLAT data flow. When an investigation spans multiple borders, you cannot simply email data across international lines. You have to navigate the rigid structure of mutual legal assistance treaties. Let's walk through the 3 core stages mapped out here. The originating request. It starts with a multi-jurisdictional evidence petition. This is where you formally establish the legal basis for seeking digital artifacts located outside your immediate domestic jurisdiction. Central authority routing. The petition must then be funneled through proper channels. In this regional workflow, processing directly through the Singapore AGC, Attorney General's chambers. Bureaucratic alignment here is non-negotiable. The output. The final deliverable is not just raw files, but certified proofs of authenticity formatted specifically for secure, cross-border sharing. Here is your operational insight. Inside the Valhalla VLE, we simulate these exact bureaucratic and technical routing hurdles required for the ASEAN MLAT. If you don't understand how to move evidence cleanly through these legal channels, your case stalls before it ever reaches a courtroom. Let's talk about a critical turning point in any live forensic investigation: executing mandatory reporting triage in real time. When you are deep inside an active data dump, you aren't just looking for financial fraud or standard corporate intellectual property theft. Sometimes, the evidence branches out into darker, highly sensitive territory that demands immediate, non-negotiable ethical intervention. Look at the branching logic mapped out on this slide. CSAM discovery. If your triage uncovers child sexual abuse material, it instantly trips the circuit breaker, triggering an immediate ethical reporting protocol. There is no discretion here. Standard protocols mandate immediate escalation to relevant international and local authorities. Active violence threat. Discovering indicators of an imminent, violent crime executes a statutory override for immediate intervention, bypassing normal chain of custody reporting lags to save human lives. South Korea National Security Act. Operating within specific regional boundaries requires recognizing unique legislative triggers, such as violations of the South Korean National Security Act, which immediately invokes specialized national security reporting protocols. Here is your core takeaway. Inside the Valhalla VLE, you aren't just tested on technical parsing, you must run live ethical decision trees handling statutory overrides in real time. When the rules change mid-investigation, your response must be immediate, lawful, and absolute. Let's talk about a critical turning point in any live forensic investigation: executing mandatory reporting triage in real time. When you are deep inside an active data dump, you aren't just looking for financial fraud or standard corporate intellectual property theft. Sometimes, the evidence branches out into darker, highly sensitive territory that demands immediate, non-negotiable ethical intervention. Look at the branching logic mapped out on this slide. CSAM discovery. If your triage uncovers child sexual abuse material, it instantly trips the circuit breaker, triggering an immediate ethical reporting protocol. There is no discretion here. Standard protocols mandate immediate escalation to relevant international and local authorities. Active violence threat. discovering indicators of an imminent, violent crime executes a statutory override for immediate intervention, bypassing normal chain of custody reporting lags to save human lives. South Korea National Security Act, operating within specific regional boundaries, requires recognizing unique legislative triggers, such as violations of the South Korea National Security Act, which immediately invokes specialized national security reporting protocols. Here is your core takeaway. Inside the Valhalla VLE, you aren't just tested on technical parsing, you must run live ethical decision trees handling statutory overrides in real time. When the rules change mid-investigation, your response must be immediate, lawful, and absolute. Let's focus on the absolute bedrock of digital forensics, ensuring absolute compliance with evidence integrity standards. In our line of work, if your data integrity can be questioned, your entire case collapses. Look at the 3 pillars outlined on this slide. Volatile, live capture. When dealing with live systems, you must enforce core association of chief police officers (ACPO) principles by deploying reliable hardware and software right blockers during live physical acquisitions. You cannot afford to alter the very state you are trying to preserve. Non-volatile, dead box, imaging. For static drives, we rely on precise imaging and hash verification. You will execute RAW or E01 image extractions using industry-standard tools like FTK Imager, and you must record SHA-256 cryptographic hashes to guarantee complete data parity. Chain of custody integration. Technical perfection means nothing if physical custody fails. You must complete rigorous dual-party handoff signatures and apply physical, tamper-evident bag sealing protocols designed explicitly to survive aggressive defense cross-examination. The bottom line, in the Valhalla VLE, we don't just extract files, we build an unbroken, mathematically verified chain of custody that stands tall under judicial scrutiny. Welcome back, operators. Let's look at the next phase of our tactical deployment, deep extraction across regional hardware and cloud vectors. When you step outside standard enterprise environments, your traditional acquisition toolkits will hit a brick wall. Look at the 3 complex vectors we trained to conquer on this slide. Vector 1, Regional Mobile Hardware. You will learn to bypass OEM-specific bootloaders to execute physical NAND dumps on popular regional mobile ecosystems, specifically Xiaomi and Oppo variants. Vector 2, Dominant Regional Cloud. We move past Western assumptions and dive straight into extracting, parsing, and analyzing cloud-native logs, object storage, and instance metadata from Alibaba Cloud. Vector 3, Compromised IoT firmware. You will get hands-on with hardware debug ports, interfacing directly via UART and JTAG to dump firmware from regional smart devices. Here is your operational takeaway. In the Valhalla VLE, we trained you for the hardware and cloud infrastructures that actually dominate our region, not just what is found in standard textbooks. Let's keep moving. Let's focus on cutting through the digital noise and isolating the signal and multilingual enterprise networks. When an enterprise network goes dark or gets flooded with cross-border traffic, your ability to triage efficiently dictates the success of the entire investigation. Look at the 3 operational filters mapped out on this slide. Filter 1, Enterprise PCP Sanitization. You will capture raw network traffic, aggressively filter out routine network noise, and compile officially translated log artifacts ready for multilingual court proceedings. Filter 2, iOS SQLite Database Carving. We dive into mobile artifacts, recovering deleted chat threads and exact metadata timestamps from localized mobile application databases. Filter 3, Ransomware Network Isolation. When an active infection hits, hesitation is fatal. You must rapidly sever enterprise network connections within the VLE to halt lateral movement and document crucial remote wipe indicators before they wipe the slate clean. Here is your operational takeaway. In a compromised multilingual environment, you cannot afford to chase ghosts. Deploy these filters to extract the exact signal you need to secure the network. Let's look at one of the most critical lessons built into the Valhalla VLE, the cascading failure of a broken chain of custody. In digital forensics, A single technical shortcut does not stay isolated, it triggers a complete collapse of your entire case. Look at how this deadly cascade unfolds. The technical failure, it starts with something small. A botched bootloader bypass in Lab 12, or a mismatched SHA-256 cryptographic hash during acquisition in Lab 8. The legal consequence. That minor technical error instantly cascades into severe judicial fallout. It results in the outright rejection of your Section 65B certificate in Lab 2 and the total dismissal of your methodology annex in Lab 18. The core insight: inside the Valhalla Labs, technology and law are inextricably linked. Technical rigor is not just a best practice, it is your only shield against legal exclusion in the courtroom. Don't give the defense an opening. Let's talk about the final product of your investigative efforts: constructing the statutorily compliant master dossier. You can perform the most brilliant technical extraction on the planet, but if your report structure fails regional statutory standards, it will be torn apart in court. Look at how we organize a bulletproof master dossier across our core tabs. Tab 1 focuses on tool versioning and methodology. Here, you build complete, exhaustive appendices documenting exact software versions, such as Autopsy 4.19, alongside hardware write blocker serial numbers and verified pre/post hash matching validation tables. Every tool must be accounted for. Tab 2 houses our statutory compliance annexes. This is where regional specialization matters. You must bundle all required local statutory declarations and compliance affidavits, specifically formatted for Indian and Singaporean proceedings, directly into the architecture of your final technical report. Here is your operational takeaway. Your report is not just a summary of findings, it is a legally binding artifact. Build the master dossier with absolute precision, and leave no room for the defense to challenge your methodology. Let's address one of the most common pitfalls that destroys forensic credibility: investigative bias. Look at this slide, the objectivity filter, eradicating investigative bias. As forensic practitioners, our job is not to tell a story or assume intent. Our job is to report the unvarnished technical truth. Look at the stark contrast on this slide. The raw bias note, notice language like, the suspect, obviously, deleted the SQLite chats to hide their tracks. That is speculation disguised as analysis. The moment you use words like obviously or infer intent without direct proof, you hand the defense counsel a weapon to tear your credibility apart. The filtered objective output: look at how we rewrite that statement through the objectivity filter. SQLite database carving recovered 42 deleted chat threads. Metadata timestamps indicate deletion occurred at 0400 HRS, immediately following the severance of the enterprise network connection. Every single word here is a verifiable, timestamped technical fact. Our core objective is simple: you must review and strip all speculative or biased language from your investigative reports. Your statements must reflect strictly verifiable technical facts, siding with either the prosecution nor the defense. Protect your objectivity, protect your report. Welcome to the end of the line, operators. You have reached the final stage of your preparation, the final crucible, surviving the Valhalla VLE courtroom. Let's make one thing crystal clear before you step into this arena. Before you ever gain access to this operational crucible, you must first pass the rigorous GAP FPC examination. Passing that exam is your key to unlocking the Valhalla Lab, granting you 6 months of post-graduation access to harden your skills across 21 real-world operational scenarios. But surviving the lab is only half the battle. Look at what awaits you at the finish line. The scenario: you will stand up as an expert witness in a simulated, high-stakes courtroom battle right here within the Valhalla VLE under strict judicial review. The defense: you must publicly and unflinchingly defend your chain of custody integrity, your SHA-256 hash calculations, and your final technical findings against an aggressive cross-examination designed specifically to exploit any procedural gap or technical error. Here is your final takeaway: Earning the GAP FPC certification is not just about knowing how to extract data or run a tool. It is about guaranteeing that your technical evidence is so bulletproof, so meticulously documented, and so legally sound that it survives the unsparing scrutiny of the APAC region's highest courts. Step up, lock in your methodology, and welcome to the inner circle.